world. So everything has a 1% and a 99%. Let's put it that way. So when we say 99%, we mean the spiritual world. When we say the 1%, we will be referring to the physical world that we live in, where we do what we do. We work at the job, we work at a business, or whatever it is that we do on the physical level. But the 99% represents the spiritual world, spiritual energy, and everything that pertains to beyond the physical. So let's go to the first understanding of aligning our energy, meaning us, the way we are now, with financial sustenance, because there is a consciousness that is relating to sustenance and not to the lack of sustenance, let's say. So the first understanding is not to focus on sustenance. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but anything we're focused on, we're eliminating the greater part of the picture. Look at it as a pie. Everything in life is like a pie. One slice is your health, one slice is your family, your relationships, your potential relationships, and so on. One slice is your sustenance. Very often, we're focused on one slice, and we try to make one slice bigger, but what unfortunately happens is we make the other slices smaller. And obsessing is never good on a spiritual level. The paradox is the way negativity gets us, actually, is to lead us into the trap of obsessing. When we have a lack, what else do you think about? You think about the thing that you're missing. You know, when you have a pain, all of a sudden we give up the rest of the body for the pain that we have a headache. Now we're focused on the headache because I lack relief in my head. Yeah, but what else is going on in the body that I may need to be aware of or not? The point is, focus eliminates the rest of the picture. Now, the rest of the picture is important because I may need it to facilitate this. And when I obsess on this, I'm eliminating something else, always. So it's always important to focus on the whole, the holistic approach, let's say, to life, to sustenance, to abundance, must be coming from a holistic approach. I don't only need this, I need it all, and I want to open up the gates in this area. Again, I need everything. We need everything. That's what we have to be thinking. We don't want to pray only for sustenance, as an example. We don't want to pray only for health. Of course, those things are important. But we need to be holistic in our approach, in our prayers or meditations, whatever connections spiritual that we're making in terms of whatever it is that we feel we're missing at the moment. Don't obsess. That's the rule. Do not obsess over my lack. That has a tendency to create, unfortunately, more lack. Okay. So tool number one, we're going to go into the angel of sustenance. Now, there's a little understood about this angel of sustenance. It actually, the origin, and by the way, you can download these tools on rabbieabe.com. Here, use this QR code right here. And if you scan that, it'll take you to that particular download, just to make it easy for you, for the tools that we'll speak about, and even some that we're not speaking about today. But the angel of sustenance, which we don't pronounce his name. You may have heard me talk about it in other videos. I'll divide it by syllables, Dikar, and we'll abbreviate it that way, Dikar, and then Nosa. Dikar, and we don't say the whole name, okay? We don't say it out loud. And people always ask, why can't I just say that? Isn't it going to be better if I say it out loud? And the answer is no. You know, if you want energy from the outlet, and pay attention, because I always get the question over and over again, even though I explain it, right? Again, we want energy. How do you use energy from the wall socket? You plug something in, whether it's a lamp, whether it's an appliance, whatever it is. Within that appliance doesn't get what we call straight energy. It does not. Every appliance works with something called resistance. In a bulb, you can see that filament. That filament is resistance. What resistance means is I'm unable to receive directly. Directly means like putting a plus and a minus together. This is what I want, and I put them together directly. If you know anything about electricity, when you put a plus and a minus together directly, what happens? You get a short circuit. So it's not better. More is not better. We're not getting more by pronouncing the name with our mouth, okay? We need to say it internally in our heart, mentally, okay? That means I'm injecting resistance, which helps make it more manifest, actually, which is a paradox. I understand. It's counterintuitive. But by not making a direct connection with the name itself, I enable it to work better for me because it's with resistance. We can't put plus and minus together. It doesn't work. It creates a short circuit. So some things are too strong for us to connect directly with. It becomes counterproductive and may be harmful, okay? So it's best used when meditated on and verbalized not through the mouth, but internally in the heart. Okay, that will be in the download, as I mentioned. And this comes from actually one of the prophets. There's a verse in one of the prophets, Malachi, for those of you who pronounce it in English, chapter 3, verse 10. And in chapter 3, verse 10, he says, I will pour out blessing for you until there is no room to receive it. Okay? I'm going to pour blessing on you until you have no more room to receive it. Now, of course, there are codes in this verse, but the name that emanates from this verse, and this is in many Kabbalistic prayers, in very high occasions, like in the Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, there's certain meditations that we make for sustenance in those times or certain other times. This name appears certainly in many Sephardic prayer books or Kabbalistic prayer books, even some Eastern European prayer books, where this name appears. There's very little written on it, okay, because for the most part, unless you're studying Kabbalah, you don't know a lot about this name, but it is one of the names of God, actually. We call it an angel, but it's a godly name that's given to tune into a certain frequency of the Creator's light, but that manifests as sustenance, okay? Now, what should you do with that? Okay, so what should you do with that? So, hang on. Let me make sure. I want to give this thing, to you in order. We should understand this as the source of where sustenance comes from, first off. And we should view it as a funnel, okay? A funnel. You can meditate in that way as a funnel. And if you're going to use a funnel, the funnel approach, then a good time to do this is on a Thursday evening, and I'm saying Thursday evening for a reason, on a Thursday evening or Friday at some point during the day or afternoon, but before sunset, okay, before we get too close to the Sabbath. Then it would be counterproductive, okay, because everything is included in the Sabbath, and now, without going into the details of why now, it would become likely counterproductive, okay, if we're going to be lighting a candle and so on. It is possible to meditate on this name in the Sabbath, yes, absolutely, with the meditations in the download, okay? So you can do it with the meditations in the download, but not by lighting a candle and specifically focusing, okay? But again, on a Thursday evening would be ideal. Light a candle and imagine a funnel, and imagine this name or say this name again internally. And also you can meditate on Joseph from the Bible as a vehicle to assist you. Why Joseph? Okay. Joseph in Kabbalah and Kabbalistic understanding is considered the chariot for sustenance. Okay, certain chariot, the patriarchs were representing chariots of spiritual forces. And their, let's call them coded stories in the Bible, are representing the energy that they represented. Abraham, which is called the right column of mercy, chesed, the light of mercy. Isaac, judgment. Jacob, which is called Tiferet, beauty, but it really represents the element of the ability to resist. Joseph and Jacob have a lot in common. Therefore, Joseph was Jacob's favorite in the Bible. But again, this is all a coded message. But if you recall your Bible stories, if you know them, Joseph represents sustenance. He was, after all of his ordeals in the stories, right? He was thrown into a pit by his brother. He was sold into slavery. He was thrown in jail. All the different things happened to him. But because his consciousness was in the right place, he elevated out of all of that. And what happened to Joseph? He was elevated also by Pharaoh, because he elevated in the spiritual world first. And then the physical world also elevated him by Pharaoh, of all people. He became second to Pharaoh, Prince of Egypt, in charge of what? All the sustenance, all the food and all the money of Egypt. And he was responsible for distribution. Distribution, that hasn't changed, okay? Meaning, it's not physically Joseph. It's the spiritual force which is called Yesod, Y-E-S-O-D, which is what Joseph represents, okay? The Sphira from the tree of life of Yesod. Yesod is the pipe. It is the funnel that channels energy into the Malchut, into the physical world which we live in. So, that's a tool. You can use that as a tool using, again, don't forget, the angel Dikar, that's what we'll call him for short, Dikar, and use an affirmation if you like, which a good one would be, I am a vessel for divine sustenance, and ask, don't command, ask Dikar to be a vehicle for you to channel sustenance into this world. Now that also means you got to do something good with it, which we'll get to, okay? We'll get to that. What do you mean? Got to do something good. In other words, you don't only receive. If the universe is going to give you sustenance, we have some kind of responsibility with that sustenance to also do good things with it, which we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay. Now, we have a name as well. This is the second tool. We have a name from the 72 names, which is, I'll put it on the screen here, Samech Aleph Lamed. Now this is not in the download. You can write it down here. Or if you have the 72 names, you can find it, match it up with this name, Samech Aleph Lamed, from the 72 names of God. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to the 72 names of God in the comment section. This is the name from the 72 names, which is also for what? Sustenance, money. Now, there are different codes within this name. Let me give you some of the understanding. Hang on. Need a little drink. It's only water. This name has a special spiritual element which is called in Kabbalah zivug. It's a mating, okay? It's a name to create unification. It is 91 in gematria, in numerical value. What is the significance of 91? We've mentioned it maybe in other places. 91 represents the unification or the mating between the spiritual world, which is represented by the Tetragrammaton, the Yud K Vav K, and the name which spells Adonai, which is 65, which is represented by the Malchut. Again, so these two names, the name through which all spiritual light, it's one of the most powerful names of God, the Tetragrammaton, we don't pronounce it, Kabbalists do not pronounce this name, the Tetragrammaton, which we call Adonai, even though it's not spelt that way, but that's how we use it in prayer and so on. It's a protective way, or the name Hashem, right? It's a protective way of using it because again, to the point of the Kabbalist, we don't want to make direct connections. Direct connections can cause short circuitry. So it doesn't mean it's going to be more powerful. I know we all want to be closer to the Creator, but the Creator has many names. The actual force of Creator has no name. There is no name. There are other holy names too, which we've spoken about, right? Even higher. But this is what we can relate to in this world. Remember, the name, we did a video about it, the name Eheyeh, which was revealed to Moses at the burning bush, is a higher level. But we have less of a relationship with it on most occasions because it's far away. You understand? It's far away from us. So Keter, which it represents, it's beyond, it's unrevealed. So great, there are certain occasions where we can use this in prayers and so on, but for the most part, it's beyond us, okay? And things that are beyond us are, in a way, less useful, So, okay, those who understand, you understand that. The Tetragrammaton, however, is within our reach, but we need the vessel for that light. And that is the name, the Malchut, which represented by the Shekhinah, the divine presence, its presence. It reveals the male force of Tetragrammaton, which is male force, and female force, or the queen, is the Shekhinah. That's what it's called, the divine presence, which represents the vessel of the Malchut of this world. It is also the vessels of humanity, the souls of humanity. It is many things. So, 91 is when we put these two names together, the Tetragrammaton, which is 26, and the Adonai name itself, which is 65, 26 and 65 is 91. So, Samach Aleph Lamed, this name represents a unification with regard to sustenance and abundance. And in the same way, there's another name, Pei Aleph Yud, which will be in the download, which is initials of Poteach et Yadecha. Some of you know about that. You open your hands, which is mentioned in Psalm 145. You open up your hands. The initials are Pei Aleph Yud, Pei Aleph Yud. You open up your hands, meaning the Creator opens his hands, symbolically, of course, and satisfies the desire of every creature, everything. Meaning, the Creator is endlessly providing sustenance, endlessly to everything and everyone. Why are we not receiving? Because we don't always have the vessel to receive. Remember, light is endless. There's no limitations. We don't need to convince the Creator to give us. It's not about that. But these tools are to help us to create the vessel so that the spiritual world where abundance exists now already, but we need to create the pathway for me. It's there, but for me to be able to receive it. Okay? That's the second tool. So meditation on the Samach Aleph Lamed, as we said, is a unification to help me draw that sustenance into my life, that I can make it a part of my life. Third tool. Now this is a concept, a spiritual concept, which we really need to understand if we are to manifest anything at all in our life. Now, Rav Ashlag, who translated the entire Zohar and wrote kind of compiled the study of 10 luminous emanations, the study of the 10 emanations, the 10 Sefirot, revealed this concept from Rabbi Isaac Luria Diari. And he explained there is a concept which is called bread of shame. Bread of shame. We call this the law of bread before the bread. Meaning, there is a spiritual bread in the spiritual world before physical bread comes to the table. Well, what does that mean? Well, what we said before is there is spiritual sustenance in the spiritual world. It must be created there before it can be manifest in the physical world. Now, why is that? This concept is called bread of shame. When we do not do this, when we do not create bread in the spiritual world, then there is a bread of shame. What is bread of shame? Very simply, bread of shame is any form of sustenance or receiving any form of beneficence that I did not create. I was not a creator for that. Now, of course, all sustenance comes from one place, one source, the creator. But from our perspective, we are here, illusionary or not, we are here to feel that we participated in the creative process. Therefore, we cannot really receive for free. I mean, sometimes it appears that we have received for free. There is no such thing as free in this world. There is always some level of payment, of physical work, spiritual work, and if it's not before the fact, then it will be after the fact. If it's not after the fact, then that sustenance will disappear. And that is why very often we receive something, but it goes away. It doesn't last. Why it doesn't last? Because on a soul level, and I understand this might be a complicated concept, that's okay. I mean, we have other places where we explain this. I do one-on-one coaching that explains this very, very well, because this is very important for us to understand. Also to help us remove blockages in our life, okay? If you want to know more about that, go check the website, Soul Coaching. All right. But this idea of bread of shame, it's extremely important. And I'll just give you a simple example. When we're doing something for the sake of giving to others or helping others, no problem. Will be no problem in receiving whatever we need in order to do that. When we receive for ourselves alone, it will be problematic, there will be a shame. Now, I just give you a simple example. Let's say like this, I'll give you the example of the baseball. You know, as a young child, he's in the baseball, little league, we call it, you know, young people's baseball team. I don't know where you're hearing the video, but baseball in America, North America, we have that. Okay. You can apply this to any game that you have wherever you live. But he's a young person and he's not too good. You know, maybe he's a little challenged physically, whatever it is, he's not too good at playing. And his father feels bad for him. He never, did anything good in a game to feel good. He wants his child to feel good, that he can really do it. But with good intention, he goes to the coach before the game and he tells the coach, look, coach, I want to help my son. I'm going to give you $1,000 if you have the rest of the team throw the game in my son's favor. Let him win somehow. So the coach thinks, all right, why not? $1,000 is $1,000. And you know what? It'll help the child. So why not? All right. So there they are in the game. And, they're near the end of the game. And his team is behind. And there's, 2 men on the bases. And, and the kid hits a very slow ball, whatever. Okay. The team already understands the program. They miss it, and they throw it high, so it goes over this one's head. And anyway, in the end of the thing, what happens? He hits some kind of home run, and everyone scores, and he's the big hero. You get the point. He's the big hero of the game. Everyone is, patting him on the back, and they're carrying him on his shoulders, and he feels amazing, okay? He won the game for the rest of the team. After the game, he's walking, and he happens to pass by his father and the coach speaking. And they don't see him. Accidentally, he overhears what? He overhears his father telling the coach, thank you, coach, for throwing the game and telling the team to let my kid win. I'll pay you. There's an envelope, and here in this envelope is the money I promised you to help him win. Now he hears this. How does he feel? Does he still feel good that he won the game? I don't think so. He probably feels terrible. He feels bad because he really didn't do it. He really didn't earn it. You see, he didn't really earn that energy. And we can see this in so many different ways because we do all kinds of things. We don't earn energy. I mean, if you're a tennis player, maybe you can all relate to this. A tennis player, you're a pro, and here you're playing a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old who's not a pro. And you smash him and you win. How do you feel? Don't you feel great? You don't really feel much because what did you do? You didn't do very much. You're a pro, and he's a kid. You won. What? Can you really say you won? No. You see, and you smash him and you win. I mean, if you're a tennis player, maybe you can all relate to this. A tennis player, you're a pro, and here you're playing a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old who's not a pro. And you smash him.
Am I the only one who heard multiple voices right there?
And here you're playing a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old who's not a pro. And you smash him and you win. How do you feel? Don't you feel great? You don't really feel much because what did you do? You didn't do very much. You're a pro, and he's a kid. You won. Can you really say you won? No. You see, when are you going to feel good? Well, maybe when you have another pro. You're playing another pro. Maybe he's even better than you. But now you won. You earned the win. You overcame a challenge. You created your win. Now you feel good. Where does good feeling come from? Good feeling comes from what we create. The energy that we overcome in order to create something. We feel the best not by receiving. Most receiving goes away. But when we feel we've truly achieved something, we've truly created something, we've worked hard for something, that's called spiritual earning. It's not necessarily on a physical level. It can be mental, emotional, overcoming, or also physical, okay? It can exist at many, many levels. So while it might feel embarrassing, maybe a person is low on money and he has to go to his neighbors and go collect, say, you know what, we can't pay our bills. Can you help us? Can you help us? Maybe he needs to do that. But there's going to be a certain feeling, likely, a certain feeling of shame attached to that because it's only for me and I have to ask for me. But what if there's a family down the block that needs help and you decide I'm going to go and I'm going to take up a collection for them? And you go out and say, you know what? There's a family who needs our help in the neighborhood. Give me $50. You good for 20? Give me here. Any problem about it? No, you're going to feel amazing. Why? Because you became a channel for that. You became a vehicle for the money to help someone else. That is necessary. And that is why there are concepts of tithing, this concept of removing the bread of shame by the effort that we make and by sharing. Sharing and channeling part of what we receive must be a part of our plan for abundance, sustenance, and abundance. Why? Because it has to extend beyond me. So the Bible gives us parameters for that, which is called tithing, giving 1/10, 10 cents from the dollar. And, we have instructions how to do that. But of course, the main thing is to give a portion, whatever I can. Ideally, it is 10%. That's what tithing means. 10 cents from every dollar. Okay? To be able to channel that so that I know in my consciousness, what I'm receiving is also for the sake of sharing. It's not only me and my family. One would say, what I share with my family, no. Your family is your flesh and blood. As much as we are able to, we need to go outside of ourselves to, maybe your church, your temple, your whatever, your mosque, whatever is bringing more light. It must bring more light to the world, okay? Whatever it is, if it's an organization, if it's our platform, whatever brings more light to the world, for you, of course, you should be connected to it. That's where you should tithe. That's where you should tithe. You need to include that in your abundance plan. Why? Very difficult to sustain. You might make it. It will be difficult to sustain. Why? It'll be like a hole in your pocket. I can't even, tell you how energetic. This is a totally energetic idea. You'll waste money. You won't even know where it went. You won't find the right deals. You won't find the discounts. When you begin to tithe, all of a sudden, things begin to shift, and you begin to find money in different types of ways. It's really uncanny. And as it says in the prophets about the tithing, it says, test God. Test me on this. See if I do not open the treasury, the upper treasury for you. So again, going back to the original point, we must create and make our sustenance in the spiritual world before it becomes manifest in the spiritual world. We all need to understand these things. Remember, the tools, download them with this QR code, okay? And that's the download section in rabbieabe.com. And be blessed with all the sustenance that we need. The month of Aries is ideal because it opens our desires for the things that we need in our life. Blessings, everyone, and I'll see you soon in the next video. All the best.
Hello, everybody. So great to see you there. See you with me. Please turn on your cameras because this is not a typical class. So I'm really happy for you. I'd love for you to begin by saying where you are right now on the planet and what you are or would like to be doing for a living. Could you shut off the AC? Shut it off. It's too hot. Thank you. So I see Tucson. Happy New Year, everyone. Calcutta, India. Wow, Jamaica, Toronto, British Columbia, London, Japan. Fantastic. France, Bulgaria, California, Florida, Brooklyn in the house, my hometown. Finland, Colorado, wonderful. Mexico City, Aruba, Spain, fantastic.
Sitael, an angel of the first Quanance, second deacon of Aries. Sitael is the third guardian in the chorus of seraphim led by Archangel Metatron. Resolute Sitael leads us on a path of joy and faith. He represents and regulates the power of expansion and is a master builder who develops the structures for generations to come. When approached with humility and respect, Sitael allows us to perform great miracles. Through the invocation of Sitael, it is possible to obtain assistance in the following ways. He provides a practical approach to assist in reaching one's aspirations. If one has experienced a pattern of unfavorable situations and seeks to break the cycle, he can turn the tides to create a new period of good fortune. His assistance can be requested for every situation in which divine protection is necessary. He will protect from dangers imposed by a named individual and protection from all negativity and attack forms, both physical and psychic. To uncover the truth in a matter where one feels they are being misled, Sitael is a master at revealing the truth through a confession or epiphany. In addition, he will also help keep promises for those that have a tendency not to honor them. He can create change in a situation when an individual's hypocrisy has caused one to be harmed in some way. In the event new employment or advancement in a career is sought, Sitael will help find a new job, a promotion, or a complete change of vocation. It is important to be clear about specific desires to ensure the results that are sought. Construction projects are overseen by Sitel to ensure their success and efficiency. Help is received to master the sciences at a high level. Sitel provides the wisdom necessary for effective leadership, as well as the abilities one must possess to be a skilled strategist. He hones the ability to appear as one who can overcome difficulties and defeat all kinds of adversaries. He helps to recognize mistakes and provides support along the path towards transforming karma. Sitel offers the skill of negotiation and will help in the acquisition of political or social notoriety. By working with the angel Sitel, one will be able to calm an aggressive, ungrateful, or boastful personality. Meditating on this name will bring the power of miracles into your life by freeing you from selfishness, anger, envy, and a victim mentality. Now calm your mind and invoke the 4 divine names written on black. Yod He Va He Adonai Asher Ehe Agla. Meditate a while. I call upon the divine light and the sacred forces of the universe to guide and protect me in this ritual. May only the highest and purest energies be present with me. O Most High, Thou who created me in your likeness and image has given thy angels charge over me to keep me in all my ways. Now focus on the sigil, gaze at the Hebrew name of Sitel, and visualize the letters glowing with a radiant, protective light. Say the invocation psalms to attract the attention of the said angel. Psalms 92, He shall say to the Lord, Thou art my protector, my refuge, my God, in thee will I trust. In the name of the divine, I call upon Sitel, the mighty Shem angel of protection and resolution. You who stand in the presence of the Most High, guardian of justice and vanquisher of adversity, I humbly ask for your presence and assistance. Surround me with your divine light, shield me from harm, and guide me through challenges. Grant me the strength to overcome obstacles and the wisdom to resolve conflicts with grace. Sitel, I honor your power and your sacred role in the divine order. I pray thee to hear my call and bless this space with your presence. Amen. Keep your gaze on sigil for a while. In the name of the Eternal One, the source of all creation, the infinite light that sustains the heavens and the earth, I call upon you, Sitel, mighty Shem angel of the divine presence. You who stand in the council of the Most High, radiant with the fire of justice and the shield of protection. You who wield the sword of truth to cut through the shadows of adversity, I humbly seek your presence here in this sacred space and in the temple of my heart. Sitel, guardian of the oppressed, resolver of conflicts, and bringer of divine order, I invoke your holy name with reverence and awe. By the power of the divine light that flows through you, I ask for your guidance, your strength, and your protection. Surround me with your celestial armor, that no harm may touch my body, my mind, or my spirit. Shield me from the chaos of the world, from the malice of others, and from the darkness within myself. Grant me the courage to face my challenges with unwavering resolve and the wisdom to discern the path of righteousness. Sitael, angel of divine justice, I ask for your intervention in the conflicts that weigh upon my heart. Where there is strife, bring peace. Where there is confusion, bring clarity. Where there is injustice, bring balance. Cut through the bonds of fear, doubt, and despair, and illuminate my path with the light of truth. I offer my gratitude for your presence, your power, and your unwavering service to the divine will. May your name, O Sitael, be a beacon of hope and strength in my life, and may your energy flow through me, guiding my actions and my intentions. In the name of the divine, I honor you, Sitael, and I thank you for hearing my call. May your light shine upon me, upon those I love, and upon all who seek your aid now and always. Amen, amen, amen. If you have a personal intention, you can now present it to this angel. After reciting the invocation, sit in silence for a few moments. Visualize Sitael's radiant presence surrounding you, filling the space with a protective red-white light. Feel their energy infusing your being with strength, clarity, and peace. When you are ready, thank Sitael once more. This is the completion of the ritual.